Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday night's calendar.
Hello, good evening. Here are tonight's main stories.
A woman and an 8-year-old girl have died after a house fire in Huddersfield. Another child is fighting for her life.
The front door blew through and I could see flames coming out from the upstairs window on top of the staircase. Absolutely shocking. Really not what normally happens around here. Absolutely awful.
Also tonight, refusing to collect bin workers on their third day of strike action in Sheffield as tensions mount.
In this heat, I know they're trying to make the point, but in this heat, are we going to get rats all over the place? Is the whole street going to smell?
We get a sneak peek at a secret rehearsal space in Pontefract for some of the biggest stars in music.
And I'm at Leeds Rowing Club, which played a huge part in George's journey to becoming an Olympic champion.
Sad news to start with tonight. A 31-year-old woman and an 8-year-old girl have died, and another child is in a critical condition in hospital after being pulled from a burning house in Huddersfield.
Police say they're treating the incident on Leeds Road as suspicious, but are not looking for anyone else in connection with what happened.
An investigation into the cause of the fire is ongoing, and officers remain at the scene tonight. Our reporter Jonathan Brown is there for us now. So, Jonathan, what do we know about what actually happened there?
Well, Ian, as you can probably see behind me, the investigation into exactly what caused this fire is still very much ongoing. We've seen crime scene investigators and firefighters here pretty much all day, and as news has started to filter through about the loss of life here, we've started to see some flowers laid in tribute to those who have died. This is all after emergency service workers were called here to Leeds Road in Huddersfield to reports of a fire around 20 past 2 this morning. When they arrived, they recovered 3 people from the burning house. Among them were 2 children. Now, tonight we understand that one of those children, an 8-year-old girl, has died from her injuries, as has a 31-year-old woman, while a 10-year-old girl remains in hospital in a critical condition. Now, we've spoken to a number of residents in this area over the last few hours who spoke about just how quickly this fire engulfed this property. Among them was Elaine, who lives next door. She was evacuated by firefighters in just her pyjamas.
It's terrible. Terrible. We've just come down now from his house to see if we could get in, because we've nothing with us. My phone's in there, my medication's in there.
Well, we've also seen police officers conducting welfare checks door to door in this area over the last few hours. That's because, unfortunately, some of the residents here did actually witness paramedics performing CPR on some of the victims. Among them was Richard, who had nothing but praise for the bravery of the emergency service workers who attended.
Did an absolute fantastic job. Pulled the people out that were in there, and obviously the police and the fire brigade and ambulance service performed what they had to do on them outside on the floor out here in front of the shop. It was absolutely awful to look at, like something from a crime scene, if you want to call it that way, or from a TV programme.
Well, West Yorkshire Police say they are treating this incident as suspicious, but they're not looking for anyone else in connection with what happened. They've described this as tragic and are urging anyone with any information as to what happened to come forward.
OK, Jonathan Brown live in Huddersfield for us. Thank you very much for the update there. Thank you.
And you can see more on that story and catch up on all of the day's news over on our website. Just head to itv.com/calendar. That's itv.com/calendar.
Well, emergency crews have spent another day at a major wildfire on Meltham Moor near Huddersfield after it reignited this morning. It originally started on Monday night and was brought under control yesterday evening after burning across 4 kilometres of moorland. This morning, winds caused it to flare up again. 10 crews in total, including resources from Greater Manchester, have spent the day on the moor, but the location of the fire has proved to be challenging for firefighters.
The fire is obviously moving, like we said earlier, with the winds, so that means we had to reposition. And the crews this morning just carried equipment, up a track, hose, setting up water dams, and like I said earlier, they were being absolutely fantastic this morning. It's in a location which is just so difficult to get to, both with 4x4 vehicles, and even more so when you walk in it. As you've seen from the pictures, the weather conditions and the conditions for the firefighters are gruelling at times.
Now, if you live in Sheffield and you put your bin out for collection this week, you might still be waiting for it to be emptied. Almost 100 refuse workers have walked out in a week-long strike, which today entered its third day.
The dispute between the Unite union and contractor Veolia is because the employer won't recognise the union, and it's led to delays in bin collections right across the city. As Ben Basin reports.
Under the July sunshine in Sheffield, as the temperature rises, so does the uncollected rubbish. With dozens of refuge workers on strike, many people's bins stand unemptied.
I know they're trying to make the point, but in this heat, are we going to get rats all over the place? Is the whole street going to smell?
We're living in hopes that our bins will be empty. We haven't been told which union supply our bins, and so we just put them out and hope for the best.
I worked in industry all my life, and I can understand some people think that industrial action is the answer to get what they want, but as far as I'm concerned, it's never the answer.
On a normal week, these bins would have been emptied already, but as you can see, some of them are still overflowing with recycling. So this strike is causing delays across the city. The advice from the council is to leave your bin out, and it will eventually be emptied.
Stop trashing our union! Recognise Unite!
At the city's main waste depot, those Unite members who've downed tools make their voices heard. This dispute isn't over pay or conditions, but instead for a seat at the negotiating table. Contractor Veolia won't recognise Unite the union or involve them in collective bargaining agreements because they say the majority of the workforce is represented by another union.
It will be out for some disruption. I mean, we're having feedback that it's causing disruption. It's not what we want. We're asking for a reasonable employer to talk to its employees. That's all we're asking for. It's the last thing we want is to cause disruption for the community or anybody in Sheffield. We really, really don't want that. But unfortunately, we're at an impasse.
Veolia say they're disappointed Unite is taking the action. In a statement, they said, at Veolia's Sheffield Integrated Waste contract, we have a long-standing recognition agreement with GMB, with the majority of the workforce being GMB members. We acknowledge and respect the right of our people to be members of a trade union and remain committed to fair representation and delivering outstanding services to Sheffield. The council says it's doing all it can to reduce the impact of the strike on collections. But with the union threatening more action in the future, it may be some time before this industrial dispute ends up in the bin. Ben Mason, ITV News, Sheffield.
Thanks for joining us for Wednesday night's calendar, and still to come on the programme, Yorkshire's best kept secret. We find out where megastars go to get themselves stage ready.
And after a calm, quiet day across the region, there is the risk of some lively thunderstorms coming our way. Join me later for all the details.
A fourth man has been charged following the mass disorder in Hare Hills in Leeds, which saw streets descend into chaos earlier this month. 21-year-old Selan Valentin Palaya has been charged with violent disorder and arson. The trouble began on the 18th of July after social services were called to deal with a child protection issue on Luxor Street. West Yorkshire Police is continuing to investigate the disorder, during which a bus was set alight and a police car turned over.
An aircraft that crashed in Thorganby near Selby, killing 2 men on Sunday, has been removed for further analysis. Matthew Bird, the pilot of the light aircraft, and his passenger Oliver Dawes both died in the crash. The Air Accidents Investigation Branch is undertaking a no-blame safety investigation and say that it's too early to speculate on what may have caused this tragic accident. Police have now reopened all of the roads surrounding the crash site. Now, it's 50 years since the huge explosion at Flixborough, an anniversary we marked a few weeks ago here on Calendar.
The Flixborough disaster shocked the world and sparked a revolution in health and safety rules in the workplace.
Well, today marks the 50th anniversary of the Health and Safety at Work Act, setting minimum safety standards in all our working lives. Kevin Ashford reports.
There's no fire alarms planned today, but if the fire alarm does go off, the fire assembly point is behind you.
Like most workplaces these days, health and safety at this water company is an accepted part of daily life, covering all the people who work here and beyond.
Health and safety is our #1 priority, and it is our job to make sure that the over 8,000 colleagues that work for us go home safe and well every night. and it doesn't stop there. We've got tens of thousands of partner colleagues that work for us as contractors and all the local communities that we're working in around.
The explosion was equal to 20 tonnes of TNT.
The Health and Safety at Work Act became law in 1974. It was the same year that saw one of the biggest industrial accidents in UK history, when an explosion at a chemical plant at Flixborough in Lincolnshire killed 28 people, which highlighted a number of safety failures. Pressure had been building for better standards for workers. One expert from Leeds Beckett University says the legislation was badly needed.
It introduces for the first time a legal duty on all employers across the country to enforce and sustain a good system of safety and healthcare for their employees. It's also very important because it introduces a responsibility on all workers as well.
So our policy is to wear 5 points of PPE on site.
Having the right protective equipment and other health and safety practices has dramatically cut the number of deaths and injuries at work since the Act half a century ago. But as working life has changed, so have the pressures. The latest figures show that of the 1.8 million people suffering from a work-related illness last year, almost half had stress, depression or anxiety caused by their jobs. A spokesperson for the Health and Safety Executive told ITV it remained committed to making sure that people are safe and healthy wherever work is taking place, and added that the principles behind the 50-year-old legislation are as relevant today as ever. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Now then to the Olympic Games in Paris and another glorious gold medal for our region. This one courtesy of Leeds' very own Georgie Brayshaw.
Yes, the 30-year-old rower was part of the women's quad sculls who produced one of the moments of the Games so far. Well, Arif Ahmed is here to explain more. Arif, talk about drama. Is a photo finish?
Oh, an unbelievable ending. It was real drama there, wasn't it? Nail-biting, as you say. But before we get on to the race itself, let's remind you of Georgie's background. When she was just 15, Georgie was thrown from a horse and placed in a coma for 9 days. When she woke up, she was paralysed down her left side. It was touch and go whether Georgie would even pull through. Thankfully, she did and grew stronger and stronger. She took up rowing at university and then continued at Leeds Rowing Club before being selected for the Great Britain programme. The rest, as they say, is history. As for today's podium, and that's where Chris Docks is live for us this evening. Chris, they must be proud as punch down there this evening.
Arif, proud as punch is the phrase, I think, so proud down here. Let me tell you, though, that this isn't the first time today that Georgie stood on board an Olympic pontoon, because that pontoon behind me there was actually used for the 2012 London Games. A little bit of Olympic history before today. They can also boast a Paralympic champion from this place. Ellen Buttrick won gold in Tokyo 3 years ago. But we're all about Georgie today, aren't we? Let's speak to someone who knows her well, David Saul, the club chairman down here. David, what a race today. You must be so proud.
I'm actually thrilled to be here. It's a fantastic achievement for Georgie. The club are absolutely over the moon about it. I've had people ringing me all day saying what a fantastic race it was. So yeah, we also had some people in the crowd in Paris. We had some juniors over there, so young people, and one or two of our senior people as well. So she had a lot of shouts in Paris.
Very much deserves it, does she, Georgie? You obviously know her well.
Absolutely deserves it. She came here about 10 years ago. Having done a very small amount of rowing, she very clearly was talented. She was very quickly picked up by the GB Talent ID programme, which is based here in Leeds. She went on to that. She spent a few more years here and then went off to a high performance centre and then moved into the national squad. It's about a 10-year journey to win that medal. Wow. And all that time she's been working hard. Fantastic.
Wow. Let's speak to some of the rowers down here. I'll try and remember all the names. We've got Anita, Sarah, Kirsty and Amy. I think that deserves a medal. I don't know. Go on, Mel, to remember all you guys. But you guys are going to be out on the water soon, aren't you? What a fantastic achievement from Georgia today. What an inspiration.
Really, really inspiring, and particularly Georgie's someone who started rowing as a senior, so I think for the whole women's squad it's really inspirational. You don't have to have been born into the sport, you don't have to have been doing it since childhood, just hard work and perseverance and gold medal, and I think that's something that everyone else is hopefully working towards. I know we've got a few hopefuls in the squad.
Did you watch the race? I mean, it was a cracker, wasn't it?
It was amazing, yeah, we did. I was supposed to be working, but it was crazy. I honestly thought the Dutch had it all the way until that final stroke. And yeah, there's been like some messages in the group chats today about, you know, pushing all the way to the line. It's that rowing isn't generally like a sport is that close. So yeah, it was so good.
And I know that you weren't here when Georgie rode here, but what an inspiration to the juniors as well. People coming through and saying, you know, they could be like her one day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the performance from all of the quad today, like they had such grit and determination right through to the very end. And yeah, it just goes to show you don't give up and right to the last stroke. So yeah, very inspiring to see them.
Oh, well, thank you so much for talking to us. Row well tonight. And you know what? They're always calling out for new members here at Leeds Rowing Club. So if you fancy giving it a go yourself, well, maybe you could be the next Georgie Brayshaw.
Wow, brilliant. Now, it's hard to believe, isn't it? But there's a lot of sport happening outside of Paris, Arif.
There is indeed, Ian. Well, can you believe it? 9 days to go until the start of the football season.
I can't believe it.
Well, you better. But this weekend, Barnsley's Oakwell Stadium will look a little bit different. For the first time since the 1940s, it'll host a boxing match. Top of the bill is up-and-coming local hero Callum Simpson, who's hoping to be crowned the British and Commonwealth champion. I've been to see how his preparations have been going. Callum Simpson is one of the hottest prospects in British boxing. With 10 knockouts from his 14 fights, he's building a reputation as a powerhouse in the middleweight division. On Saturday, he has the chance to take his career to the next level when he fights Zach Chelly for the British and Commonwealth belts.
This is the fight that I've been asking for a long time. I think Zach Chelly said a few things that I've not proved myself yet, I've not fought anybody yet. But this is the fight I've been asking for. I want to prove myself. I want to prove that I'm the best in Britain. And for me, you know, this should be my hardest fight yet. But again, it's just another step close to where I want to be as a world champion.
Boxing here is beloved Barnsley has always been a dream for Callum. This weekend, that will become a reality as the goalposts here at Oakwell will be replaced with a boxing ring as he'll fight in front of 7,000 of his most loyal supporters.
It sold out within 48 hours. They did record-breaking pre-sale sign-ups. It just shows the support that I've got from Barnsley, my community, and how much everyone's getting behind me. A lot of people, even in British boxing, don't even get to fight for a British or Commonwealth title. I'm getting to do it in front of my home crowd, my home football stadium, sold out East Stand. So yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. Yeah.
Callum has come a long way since leaving school at 16. From working part-time in a retail shop, lacing up the shoes of former fighter Kell Brook, Callum is now ready to follow in the footsteps of the former world champion.
You used to have to go and get his shoes for him, or loosen his shoes up for him, making sure I got the right size for him and stuff. And obviously I never mentioned to him that I was a boxer. But yes, so obviously then we used to go to Sheffield Arena and watch him fight, so he was always a massive inspiration from me.
And now you've got Kell Brook messaging you, asking when you're fighting and for tickets and being there ringside to watch you.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal from loosening his laces for him and going to watch him at Sheffield Arena, you know, coming out to all the lights, to him coming to my fight, sitting ringside, getting in the ring with me after I win. So yeah, it was pretty surreal.
After 6 weeks of hard training and sticking to a strict diet, this self-confessed foodie is hungry for success. Good luck to Callum on Saturday. Now, it's a bit of a rest day for us tomorrow. None of our athletes are in medal contention, but we go again on Friday in the diving and the trampoline.
Arif, thank you very much indeed for that very comprehensive roundup. Thank you. Now, if you're from Sheffield, you'll be very familiar with the city's iconic Park Hill Flats.
Yes, it's a bit of a staple of the skyline and has been since the 1960s. Well, the landmark is now in with the chance of being named as the country's best new building. It's been shortlisted for the Sterling Prize, and even though the original structure was built over 6 decades ago, the second phase of the redevelopment was only completed in 2022.
Well, finally, our cameras have been for a rare look behind the scenes inside one of Yorkshire's best-kept secrets.
Ah, very intriguing, Sally. Well, the music industry's biggest names head to Production Park to rehearse on custom-made sets made for them by a growing army of talented behind-the-scenes people.
But most of the time, staff are not allowed to let slip who they've been working for. But we've had special permission to drop a few names. Katie Oscroft reports.
Some of the biggest names in music, Sam Smith, Coldplay, Elton John. What few know is that they come here to Pontefract to make their visions a reality.
So through here we've got Gloria.
Mini Gloria?
Yes, the Mini Gloria. So this is the model of the real thing. And then the toaster is where the artist is mainly going to appear from and surprise the audience.
Jenny takes those big ideas and helps to transform them. Gloria was a showstopper, but she was also a feat of engineering, able to be transported from venue to venue across the world.
So last year we had Sam Smith on the site and they were amazing to work with. They are so passionate about what they want to put out when they're on tour, and they've got such big ideas.
Yet when Jenny was hard at work on this project, she could tell no one.
You find yourself sort of like wanting to drop hints to them and see if they can figure out who it is that you're working for. It sort of keeps the spark alive for you a little bit, that it's something that only you know, it's a secret. It's like a little bit of magic that you know what people around the world are potentially going to see.
The next generation of stars needs the next generation behind the scenes.
The glamorous side is kind of, I suppose, what the audience see out the front with the stars on the day, but it's everything that comes before that is what we do, and that's what's so fantastic, is that this is the bit that's kind of like, it's almost like the meat of the production. There is so much that happens before that artist gets on that stage.
At Production Park, students learn the tricks of the trade.
I think we're a prime example here. You know, we're in the heart of West Yorkshire, and you don't have to be in London in order to make things happen. You can do it here.
Emily is proud to have done it here. Her granddad was from this area's more traditional mining industry. The pits are long gone, and the landscape now reveals a very different but vibrant and lucrative working community.
We are forming lots of new, exciting, fresh career roles. My grandma would only have dreamed of. It's fantastic. I like to say that we are one of Yorkshire's, if not the UK's, best kept secrets. The amazing work that goes on here, the sheer amount of vibrant creativity that happens on site is amazing.
In South Elmsall Library, an exhibition aims to let more people know about the industry bringing stardust to their street corner.
They've been here now 25 years and they're becoming a real part of our history in South Kirby. They've got lots of people involved. I know they do a lot of outreach with schools. For us to have in our little area something that is globally recognised, it's just absolutely fantastic.
Production Park is also opening doors for women.
It's been quite the transformation. It's one of those industries where nothing's going to change unless we lead that change. So the more women that get involved, the more women that do it, the more you're going to see at the table and the more you're going to see at the top.
And some of the best bits of working at the top here are the names you can drop.
Stormzy, we've done the Rolling Stones, we've done kind of things like that, really. I don't know how many more I can talk about. It's top secret stuff.
Top secret until the curtain falls on the tours and all can then be revealed about the crucial role this part of West Yorkshire plays in making them happen. Katie Oscroft, ITV News, Pontefract.
Fascinating stuff. And if you're intrigued and want to find out a little bit more, if you head over to ITVX, there's an even longer version of that report from Katie Oscroft that you can watch, and you can see just a little bit more about what goes on there at that
Who knew the
production
Rolling
park.
Stones had a connection to Pontefract?
I never knew it.
No, there's lots of fun facts in there, isn't there?
Well, you watch calendar and you find out something new
You
every
certainly
night,
do.
don't
Let's
you?
find out what the weather's got in store. Here's Amanda.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Well, most of us got to enjoy some lovely, calm, summery conditions across the region today. However, things are looking a little livelier as we go through tonight and into Thursday. So you can see here we've got a Met Office weather warning for us. We are expecting some thunderstorms. Now, they will be hit and miss. If we do happen to catch one, potentially up to 40 millimetres of rainfall in the space of an hour. So there could be some localised flooding out there and some lightning strikes too. So do be aware of that. So we've got this plume of showers pushing northeastwards as we go through tonight and into tomorrow. And we continue to draw in that warm, muggy air too. Although if you don't like the heat, you can see by the time we get to the weekend, we've got this low pressure heat that's eventually going to drive this cold front across us. That's bringing some more unsettled conditions. And then behind that, some fresher air will follow. No such look out there tonight, though. It's certainly warm and sticky for many of us. Dry at the moment, but it's as we go through the small hours, we are expecting some showers to start to creep their way across us. And as I mentioned earlier, some of those could be heavy and thundery. Could be quite noisy throughout the small hours, and a humid feel too. Temperatures there between 16 and 18 degrees. So certainly a mixed start to the day. Tomorrow you can see we've got more of these showers pushing their way eastwards for a time. Heavy and thundery, could be a tricky rush hour for some, but eventually they move off into the North Sea, and behind it we'll see some bright or sunny spells developing before more showers get going. And once again, with those light winds, heavy, slow moving, some hail and some thunder mixed in there too. And a warm feeling day. Highs this time 23 or 24 degrees. It's going to get even warmer for some of us on Friday. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Oh, good to see those temperatures holding up, even if the rain is coming as predicted.
I know, another warm, sticky night though tonight, which is a bit of a shame. But never mind, that's it for now. Arif will be back at the later time of 11:20 with our late news. Mary's next. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6. Good night.
Bye-bye.